Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. If you're tuning in, chances are you're about to make a major purchase, or hey, maybe you already did. You know, buying a car from a private seller feels like a massive win, until reality hits and you remember you have to deal with the Massachusetts Registry of Motor Vehicles. But seriously, don't sweat it. Today, we're taking that mountain of terrifying bureaucratic paperwork and turning it into a totally simple, manageable process.
Have you ever felt overwhelmed by the paperwork involved in buying a car privately? Unlock the secrets to a smooth and stress-free transaction with our expert guide on transferring a car title in Massachusetts. Stick with me, because by the end of this explainer, you are going to have the exact knowledge and honestly, the confidence to breeze through this whole process seamlessly.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is our quick roadmap for today. 1. Title transfer basics. 2. Preparing documents. 3. The step-by-step process. 4. Common RMV pitfalls. And 5. Next steps and completion. Let's get to it.
All right, kicking things off with Section 1, Understanding the Basics. So, the absolute most important document in this entire transaction is the certificate of title. Think of this piece of paper as your ultimate proof of ownership. It's a legal document issued by the state that tells you exactly who owns the vehicle and, crucially, if there are any banks involved that financed it. Now, you really need to keep this in mind. Massachusetts title law is incredibly strict about timing. You are legally required to transfer this title into your name within 10 days of purchasing the vehicle. So, literally, mark that on your calendar.
Because of that, you've got to make sure you're buying from the actual owner. Have you guys ever heard the term title jumping or maybe title skipping? Listen, this is a massive red flag. This happens when someone buys a car, doesn't register it in their own name because they want to dodge sales tax, and then tries to sell it directly to you, leaving the buyer section on the title totally blank. Actually, let's be clear, this is entirely illegal. Always, and I mean always, make sure the person standing right in front of you handing over the keys is the exact person whose name is printed on the front of that title.
Moving right along to Section 2, Preparing Necessary Documents.
Okay, before you even think about starting the transfer, you need to gather your paperwork arsenal. First up, you need the previous owner's certificate of title. And on the back of that title, the seller has got to fill out the date transferred, the purchase price, and the exact odometer reading. Then, both of you have to sign it. Now, if the title happens to not have a specific space for the sales price, you're also going to need a separate written bill of sale. And finally, you'll need the registration and title application, which everyone pretty much just calls the RTA form.
All right, pay super close attention here because this trips up a lot of buyers. If the seller owns the car free and clear, meaning zero lien, the physical title transfer is a breeze. But if there's a lien listed on that title, meaning a bank still has a security interest in the car, you absolutely cannot proceed with a physical transfer without a formal release. And trust me, the RMV does not mess around here. They want an original signed release letter on the lien holder's official letterhead. A photocopy or a quick fax? Yeah, that simply won't cut it. Okay, let's get into the actual nitty-gritty. Section 3, the step-by-step transfer process. Now, what's really interesting here is the actual RTA form you'll be filling out. In the owner information section, you've got to accurately fill out all your details. By law, you must provide identification. For most of us, that's just an unexpired Massachusetts driver's license or MAID card number. But if you're applying with an out-of-state license or a social security card, you will have to physically present those actual documents. Right at the top of that exact same form, in the Service Type section, make sure you check the box that says Register and Title a Vehicle. But wait, here is the real kicker that so many people completely miss. Before you set foot in the RMV, you have to take this completed RTA form to a licensed Massachusetts insurance agent. They have to write you an active policy and then physically stamp and sign this form. Seriously, no stamp, no service. The RMV will absolutely not process your transaction without it.
Let's talk numbers, because you're going to need your wallet ready. The mandatory certificate of title fee in Massachusetts is exactly $75, just a flat fee. Make sure you're prepared to pay this at the counter, so have a credit card or check ready to go.
But wait, there's more. The $75 fee is not the whole shebang. You are also on the hook for the Massachusetts motor vehicle sales tax, which sits at 6.25%. And here's a totally crucial detail. The Department of Revenue calculates this 6.25% based on the purchase price you wrote on the title or the National Automotive Dealer Association, the NADA, trade-in value of the car, whichever one is higher. So if you manage to score a screaming deal on this car, just be ready for the state to tax you on its higher book value instead.
So let's quickly sum up the action steps. 1. Get that insurance stamp on your RTA form. 2. Double-check that all documents are perfectly signed and dated with the seller. And 3. Schedule your visit. Unless you actually enjoy sitting in a waiting area for 3 hours, I highly recommend scheduling an in-person appointment online via the MyRMV portal. Walk-ins are technically a thing, but appointments always get priority. Or, even better, check with your insurance agent. A lot of them are part of the electronic vehicle registration program and can process your plates and title right there in their office.
Which brings us to Section 4, Common Pitfalls and How to Avoid Them.
Okay, if you take absolutely nothing else away from this whole explainer, please remember this. The RMV enforces a strict zero-tolerance policy for physical document alterations. I mean it. There can be absolutely no erasures, no whiteouts, and no crossed-out text anywhere on that title. If you or the seller make a mistake and just try to scribble it out, boom, the title is instantly voided. The whole transaction stops dead in its tracks. The seller then has to apply and pay $25 for a duplicate title, which literally takes weeks to show up in the mail, completely stalling your purchase. So please, take your time and write carefully.
All right, we are in the home stretch. Section 5, Completing the Process and What's Next.
Once all your paperwork gets the green light, the RMV is going to mail your new official physical title to you in about 6 to 8 weeks. But while you're waiting on the mailman, you have 2 separate 7-day clocks ticking right away. First up, if you're transferring existing plates from an old car you got rid of, the 7-day transfer law gives you a nice little grace period to drive the new car while you sort out the registration. But the second clock? That one is critical. It's the Massachusetts Failed Inspection Law. And this brilliantly illustrates why you can't delay. This clock starts ticking on the exact date of the sale, not when you register it. You have exactly 7 days from the sale date to get that car inspected.
So why the huge rush on the inspection? Well, if the car fails a safety or emissions test at a licensed station within those first 7 days, you might actually be legally entitled to void the sale and get a full refund. No way, right? It's true. But to do this, the estimated cost of repairs has to be more than 10% of the purchase price. If it hits that mark, you've got to notify the seller in writing within 14 days of the sale date and physically return the car. It is an amazing consumer protection, but you have to act incredibly fast to actually use it.
Phew, okay. We've covered a ton of ground today. I highly encourage you to just hit pause right now and grab a screenshot of this master checklist. If you stroll into the RMV with a clean, signed title, a bill of sale, the odometer reading, your stamped RTA form, your ID, and your payment ready to go, your transaction is going to be unbelievably smooth. Keep this checklist on your phone. It's basically pure peace of mind. Just a quick heads up before we finish out. While this explainer is packed with detailed guidance straight from Massachusetts RMV sources, it is not a substitute for professional or legal advice. Laws change, fees change, you know how it is. So we always suggest checking out the Massachusetts RMV website or consulting a legal professional for the absolute most accurate info for your specific situation. And there you have it, the whole shebang. We've completely demystified the RMV maze. You know exactly how to spot a title jumper, you know the precise paperwork to prep, and you know how to protect your hard-earned cash with the failed inspection law. So, I've got to ask, now that you know all the secrets, are you ready to confidently conquer your next private car purchase? I definitely think you are. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy driving out there.